KXAS TV, Channel 5. Brad Wright, Jayroe, meteorologist Harold Taft, and Scott Murray Sports. This is Channel 5 Action News.
Good evening. The first real test for Democratic presidential candidates is but 2 hours away.
This even though the candidates have been campaigning for more than a year now. But later tonight, Iowa voters will attend precinct caucuses throughout their state. And as Channel 5's Karen Parfitt reports tonight, the choices Iowa voters make could greatly impact our choices in Texas.
A high school gymnasium in Dallas County, Iowa. Voters who gathered to rally for Walter Mondale here have a distinct advantage over their counterparts in their namesake Texas County. Voters here will be the first in the country to make their choices, while all 8 Democrats are still in the race. And while Walter Mondale is expected to be the first choice of Iowa Democrats, a lot of delegates voters choose may be uncommitted ones. Here's why. Let's say 100 people go to a precinct caucus tonight in Des Moines. A candidate has to get 15% or 15 of those 100 voters to qualify for a delegate. But what if Cranston, Hart, McGovern, Glenn all have about 10 votes each? They wouldn't qualify for individual delegates, but they could band together and take home uncommitted delegates. That could hurt some candidates' hopes of breaking out of the pack. Glenn perhaps has the most to lose. A poor showing here could reinforce the image that his campaign is slipping.
Well, if you do that, that'll help us win your precinct.
As the first vote approaches, all the candidates have firmly established their images. Mondale as the front-runner who can stay above it all while the others snipe at each other and at him. Glenn is telling voters he can appeal to all philosophical elements and win in November. Hart is promoting himself as the forward-thinking Democrat with new ideas. Cranston is emphasizing a nuclear freeze and jobs for Americans. McGovern is appealing to voters' sentiments with his call to Iowans to vote their conscience. Askew is wooing conservatives with his anti-abortion stand. Hollings is promoting a balanced budget, and Jesse Jackson his Rainbow Coalition. But neither Hollings nor Jackson have organized in Iowa. By tonight at 10, we'll be finding out what choices Iowa voters are making, and we'll discuss how their choices could affect ours in Texas. Karen Parfitt, Channel 5 Action News, Des Moines.
And Karen will be back here with us tonight at 10 to watch the caucus results come in and to help analyze how they'll figure into the 1984 campaign. Jane?
Politics of law and order are once again occupying some members of the Fort Worth Police Department. Some officers staged a ticket slowdown this weekend in protest of the city's handling of the moonlighting question. The city proposes charging employers $19 an hour for off-duty police officers' time. Today, Ron Trumbla was told that would not solve the problem, but would eliminate many of the jobs.
Last year, roughly 80% of Fort Worth's police force held down part-time off-duty jobs, either in the downtown sector or in the bars and clubs throughout the city. The White Elephant, Cowtown, and Filthy McNasties are but a few that traditionally hire off-duty cops to keep the peace. But will they continue if the city runs the show at double the cost? The police don't think so.
It still will substantially cut off-duty jobs for police officers. And I think that we're probably pricing ourselves, or the city's pricing us out of the market, and it will effectively eliminate most off-duty employment.
Most employers we talk to agree. In fact, one says the city is saving money with the present system.
We wouldn't be able to afford the off-duty Fort Worth policeman. We'd have to go to some sort of private security. The problem with that is you would then have quite an increase in the number of police calls.
Between January of 1983 and 84, about 500 Fort Worth police officers worked a little more than 1,700 off-duty jobs for an average rate of $10 an hour. At the city's proposed rate of $19 an hour, it's believed about half of those jobs would simply dry up. Ron Trumbla, Channel 5 Action News.
The Police Association is also asking for input from the private employers. Anyone with ideas or a workable solution is asked to write to Post Office Box 17640, Fort Worth, and the zip is 76102. More criminal indictments have been returned against several Dallas taxicab drivers. Cabbies are accused of ripping off Medicare money from the government. They allegedly falsified documents to indicate the cabs were used to transport patients to medical facilities. This was the second wave of indictments. 6 people were named by the grand jury. Brad?
On another subject tonight, Jane, the flags were at half-staff and the students were excused to attend the funeral today of 15-year-old Carl Etheridge of North Garland High School. Carl died this weekend from a rare form of meningitis. Another student is recovering from the disease in a local hospital, but many parents are still concerned for their children's safety. And part of that concern stems from a lack of knowledge about meningitis. But as Randy Wyles reports, the occurrence is infrequent, though the carriers are many.
1 out of every 4 people are carriers of the meningitis bacteria. It's a disease that can be transmitted, but only through close personal contact, like eating or drinking after someone who is a carrier. The bacteria attack the meninges, or covering of the brain, which can result in death because it can cause swelling and prevent the brain from ordering normal body functions like breathing.
If you have a bacterial meningitis and you can catch the illness in the early phases, you can offer bacterial coverage or treatment with medications that will cover that infection.
But early diagnosis is the key, so you should watch for these symptoms: a stiff neck, drowsiness, and the most recognizable, a severe headache. There is no concrete proof, but it seems to some neurologists that the body is more susceptible to meningitis when its natural defenses are down.
There's an increased risk or attack ratio of meningococcal meningitis in attacks or epidemics of influenza in America, which we've been having in Dallas.
And that may have been the reason for the fatal case this weekend at the North Garland High School. According to the school records, North Garland had a very high number of students out last week with the flu. Randy Wyles, Channel 5 Action News, Garland.
And tonight at 10 o'clock, we'll be talking about another health topic that affects most all of us, the safety of the fillings in our teeth. That silver filling material called amalgam is 50% mercury. Some dentists say patients who are sensitive to mercury suffer medical problems because of the fillings. At 10 o'clock tonight, Jane Boone will begin a 5-part look at the amalgam controversy and what it means to all of us. Well, still ahead, the Kodak company wants its share of the lucrative high-tech market. We'll tell you how they're going about it in just a moment.
And Child Find tonight needs help in locating a youngster who, when taken, was just months old, and he's almost 4 now.
For the Bayshore Bulls, whose pass is incomplete, Gulf's gas with guts has the power they need. For Jim Tyson, whose stomach was as empty as his gas tank, at Gulf, convenience stores let him fill his tank and tummy too. For Morton Mitchell, who demands the right gas, but at the right price, Gulf self-service makes more sense for less sense.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you. Pontiac.
From Pontiac comes the one-of-a-kind 84 Firebird Trans Am. You can order it with aerodynamic ground effects, a high-output 5-liter V8, high-tech turbo wheels, and a close ratio 5-speed. And knowing you, you probably will. Trans Am, only from Pontiac.
Test drive the new Firebird Trans Am at your Cowboy Country Pontiac.
Feeding, weeding, fighting bugs. You need ChemLawn. ChemLawn guarantees a thicker, greener lawn. In spring, we feed and weed. Guaranteed. In summer, we come back to spray for bugs. Guaranteed. In fall, we heavy feed. We'll keep working till you're satisfied or your money back. Guaranteed. ChemLawn keeps coming back for a thicker, greener lawn. Guaranteed.
When a child like Richard Lampman is taken from a home, it's a tragedy we can all understand, even when the child is kidnapped by a relative. Tonight's Child Find is about Richard Lampman. The child is almost 4 years old today and has been away from his home for almost 3 years.
He was stolen from me 3.5 years ago on March 28th, 1981, by my mother, my natural mother.
Carol's relationship with her mother has always been a stormy one. In fact, Carol was removed from her mother's care and placed in a foster home when she was 14. In January of 1981, Carol was granted legal custody of her son, Richard. 2 months later, he was taken. Carol says she's had little help from law enforcement agencies, including the FBI.
If he had been a stolen car or a racehorse, they would have had a lot more luck finding him. It's amazing to me. I've tried every other way, you know, putting out flyers and sending out information to doctors and things. I've done most of it on my own. When you say to somebody, my mother stole my child, the first thing they're going to say is, what's wrong with you?
Today, Carol and her husband live in Boerne, Texas, north of San Antonio. Every day, Carol writes in a journal letters to Richard. It's a way of hanging on.
I'm not going to give up hope. I'm going to keep looking for Richard. I don't care if he's 32. You know, I mean, he's my baby, and I really want to find him.
If you think you could help find Richard, contact Child Find. It's a toll-free number, 1-800-431-5005. Carol says she's willing to do most anything with regard to her mother just to get Richard back, and that would include dropping all charges.
Well, Child Find's goal in all cases, of course, is to change the status of these youngsters from missing to found. Change, on the other hand, in the business world is about the only thing you can really count on, especially in the high-tech 1980s. Channel 5's high technology reporter Ed Martelle says a good example of that is the Kodak company.
Film has been the mainstay of Kodak's business ever since the beginning. And film and the cameras that use it continue to be the products. But the last few years have been hard on Kodak and the film industry. That's why Kodak has developed new products, the disc camera, and now the Kodavision videotape system.
It's too early to tell whether they're going to have a success or not, and it will probably be several years before that market really develops. In the meantime, Kodak is having its problems.
Not surprisingly, Kodak has decided to look elsewhere for growth and long-term survival.
Film business is a very good business for us. There are other medias that are also will be good revenue business for us in the future.
And office products are something Kodak knows and understands.
The direction that we're heading is to allow people to take advantage of the newer technologies that are coming down the road that are being offered by a number of vendors, and then integrate those technologies into a product or a system that gives the best results.
Most importantly of all, there is a change of policy at Kodak. No longer are they married to film technology. Now they can go wherever their research and their market takes them. Ed Martelle, Channel 5 Action News.
Well, it's hard to believe, but spring training is already underway for Major League Baseball.
And Scott Murray will check in live from Dallas with a couple of hometown boys who've made very good.
Young Andrew is going to learn a lot about love and responsibility. His own puppy is just the beginning. As Andrew grows, so will his responsibilities. And that's when Nationwide Insurance will be able to help Andrew, as we've helped his parents and his grandparents, with blanket protection for their lives, homes, families, cars, and businesses.
Who can you call on for better insurance? Who can you call nationwide? Who can you count on for blanket protection and know that you'll find peace of mind? Call Nationwide, 'cause Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Insurance. We've been helping people take care of their responsibilities for almost 3 generations.
Nationwide is on your side.
Hey, you know, a lot of folks don't know that besides playing football in Pittsburgh, my father and I would do a little ranching down here in Louisiana. You know, in both businesses, I depend on proven performers. That's why I trust TBZ Wormer. Everybody knows that TBZ won't stress or set back your cattle. It gets the worms that steal the pounds. And for my money, TBZ is all you need to know about worming. Hey, Dad, throw me another tube of TBZ. I always thought catching was the easy part.
Well, it's time now to find out what's happening in the world of sports. Scott Murray, like Johnny Carson, is never in the office on Monday. He's over at the Hyatt Regency in Dallas tonight. Scott, what's up?
Right you are, the 19th Annual Dallas All-Sports Banquet. Brad, and let me tell you, what a list of people we've got on hand tonight that are going to be awarded awards tonight. Mavericks, Brad Davis and Mark Aguirre. Cowboys, Billy Joe Dupree. The Rangers, Buddy Bell. SMU's Russell Carter. Highland Park's Dave Richards, of course, the Parade Magazine #1 high school football player in the entire nation. He'll be on hand tonight. Boxing champ Donald Curry of Fort Worth. Plano's Tom Kimbrough. North Texas State's head football coach Corky Nelson. The list goes on and on and on and on. And you name it, They're in the world of sports. They're here at the Hyatt Regency in Dallas tonight. Eric Dickerson among those on hand. Field Scoville Award to be presented to him a little later on tonight as the nation's outstanding sports figure. We had hoped to talk to Eric, but he is yet to arrive here. But we do have a gentleman that certainly is no stranger to football fans in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I talk of SMU quarterback Lance McElhaney, who also will receive an award tonight as the outstanding Southwest Conference quarterback of all time. You surpassed Bobby Lane's record with wins tonight, and I'm told that Bobby Lane's going to present you with the award tonight, Lance.
Well, I hope so. I've never met him, but it's definitely an honor to be here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Talk about the awards tonight. I don't know how much you, of course, grew up in the Dallas area, Highland Park, but the fact that this has been going on for some, well, this is the 19th year now. This has really got to be something special, I would imagine, to you, the fact that you have grown up in this area and to be presented and honored in front of all these sports figures from all over the country.
I think so. You know, I've always said that football's a team sport, and when you pick out an individual, it's you know, saying a lot for him, but I'm an example of a guy that plays on a great team, you know, and to be awarded this award tonight and to be among this, you know, a group of people like we are, then it's definitely an honor.
What lies ahead for Lance McElhaney? You finish up at SMU, and what about pro football?
Well, as far as USFL, I haven't had any contact, you know, as of yet. But the NFL is still in there, I believe, and I've heard some things about a draft. I don't know if I were to go, if not, but I would like to play if I got the shot, and because I love football and love the game, and I'd love to give it my best shot. And I think that's what every, you know, college player has a dream of doing. And so, you know, if I don't do that, then I'll probably stay in Dallas here and try to get a job somewhere.
Always a pleasure, Lance. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Very good. SMU quarterback Lance McElhaney. You know, you talk about Major League Baseball, the Rangers and pitchers and catchers are underway in Pompano Beach. They reported last Saturday that their first workout of the 1984 campaign. Mike Fernandez, Kerry Smith of our staff are down there. And tonight we take a look at the Rangers starting pitching staff. Here's now more from Pompano Beach.
Last season, Ranger pitchers led the American League in ERA. This season,
and I think that this year's staff will be even better. We've got better depth and we've got a better handle on what guys can do. So you've got to believe that it was for real.
At the same stage as last year, I think that we've got fewer question marks for this year's staff than we did last year.
The Ranger front four is set. Charlie Huff, Dave Stewart, Danny Darwin, and Frank Tanana. A decision has to be made on a fifth starter, Al Lakowitz or Mike Mason. Mason feels he belongs.
I do. I feel I've proven myself, and all I have to do is go out and have a good spring training, and I'm confident that with my talents, they'll make a spot for me on the team.
There are questions, like can Dave Stewart pitch over 250 innings in a season? And can Danny Darwin bounce back? The people in charge don't seem too concerned.
We've got the quality people. There's no question about it. It's just a matter of if we can put the right ones together.
Just like last season, there are many question marks about the Ranger relief pitching. We'll talk about that group of players tonight at 10. With the Rangers in Pompano Beach, Mike Fernandez, Channel 5 Action Sports.
In the NBA, all is quiet tonight. The Mavericks will be at home Wednesday night, game number 4 of a 5-game homestand. They'll take on Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets, and then, of course, coming up Friday, the Milwaukee Bucks will be in town. Saturday, game right here on Channel 5. All gets underway at 8:30 live from Utah. That's it. We'll see you back in the studio tonight at 10.
All right, okay. Scott, thanks a lot. Well, the last 3 days have been pretty good days to stay bundled up.
Coming up, Harold Taft takes the wrap off of a more pleasant forecast, and he's next.
How about some great seafood tonight, honey?
I'm kind of tired. I don't feel like going out tonight.
We don't have to. Now there's Gorton's new light recipe seafood entrees, and all but one's under 300 calories.
Introducing new Gorton's light recipe seafood entrees. Authentic dishes like flounder stuffed with shrimp and crab meat, sole in a rich cheddar sauce, plus many others, all single serving.
Hey, I like this restaurant.
Nobody does it just like Gorton's.
Trust the Gorton's fishermen.
This is the most revealing hairspray ever introduced.
New Crystal Clear VO5.
New Alberto VO5 is unlike all these other leading sprays. See the dulling, blurring film they leave. Now see how new Crystal Clear VO5 reveals all your hair's natural beauty. And the Crystal Clear hold lasts for 14 fabulous hours.
New Crystal Clear VO5.
Reveals all your hair's natural beauty.
When you have a family, it's important to save money. So we really appreciate Allstate's Shape Up and Save rates and discounts. We keep our driving record in shape, and Allstate gives us a better rate on our car insurance. And with Allstate's multi-car discount, we save money because we have a second car. And we sure need a second car.
Shape up and save.
Honey, how much would we save if we needed a third car?
Third car?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
We had a little rain this morning. Didn't amount to much. 1/100th of an inch at the airport. We had a little more than that, 4/100ths at this observation point. There was a 1/10 of an inch down at Cleburne, and a couple places down Stephenville and over Dublin said there was snow with it. Actually about 2 inches, but it melted about as fast as it fell. Well, here in our area in North Texas today, 39 degrees is the normal low temperature, and that's what it was this morning. But it warmed this afternoon. Thank you. It warmed this afternoon to... well, thank you. You can't see it, but it's 47 degrees. That's what it is right there. All right. Well, let's see what else we got. I think the rest of it will be all right. Cloudy with a little light rain. That's what it has been today. Now let's see what happens if we put the highs and the lows on there. It does. 19 was the lowest we've recorded on this date. 86 was the warmest. And we had 2.42 inches of rain. That's the most that has ever been recorded, but that was back in 1945. From the almanac, we're going to look at the 20th of February, and historically, it's a very dry day. Since 1970, in the last 15 years, there have only been 2 rain days. 1979, we had 2/100ths of an inch, and in 1984, we had 1/100th of an inch, and of course, that was today. Now, 1976, there was a dust storm. There was more dust on that one day than there has been rain in the last 15 years on this particular date. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and look at the Texas map. And there it is. The computer's back on track now. A light northeasterly wind in our area. Still a little patches of light rain showing on the radar. It may or may not be reaching the ground, but it may be evaporating before it actually hits. But over here in East Texas and over in Louisiana, still an area of rain because of a low that's developing down here in the Gulf. That'll tend to move on off, and the high will push on across, and the clearing skies will occur by morning. Well, let's see if we have some temperatures on this picture right now, and I think we do. Yes, 48 degrees at Meacham, Fort Worth, 47 Dallas Love Field, 43 up at Amarillo, and the temperatures are still holding in the 40s on down into South Texas. It's 45 at Little Rock, no rain there. Rain in and around Tyler, but not at Tyler. Raining at Lufkin, raining down at Houston, and down at Brownsville. Now, on the national map, yes, on the national map. Now, if you please, yes, the national map. There it is. Okay. On the national map, here's that low down in the Gulf. It'll tend to move on off to the northeast. It's raining along the Gulf, all along the Gulf Coast, but kind of patchy elsewhere. Weather's good all over the country. And another big high building up here in the Great Basin area. But I don't think this one's going to stay as long as the others have. This front coming on across has pretty good upper air support. Should move on across and be down into our area sometime late Thursday going into Friday morning. But until then, we're going to see a clearing trend with generally pretty good weather. Here's the wind flow in the upper levels. The low still off to the west of us about El Paso, and as long as to the west, we don't want to clear it off, but I think by morning it will have passed and conditions will be improving substantially at that time. Let's look at the satellite picture. And on it, we can still see a lot of cloudiness, see some breaks off to the west. Here's a line of clouds built up here, and here's some built-up clouds on up into Oklahoma. These are high clouds and cold, and the little light precipitation that is occurring in our area, very light and tending to move on off to the east and do so rapidly. On the forecast map, about 57 tomorrow afternoon under fair skies. Still be some rain along the coast, good weather along the east coast, some snow back in through Idaho, Wyoming, and portions of Utah as this front approaches, and it'll be coming down into our area, I think, Thursday night going into Friday. Could give us some showers at that time. Certainly it'll cool things off after it warms up. Well, look outside. It's overcast yet, no precipitation at this point. North wind at about, 5 miles an hour, 6, 7. The barometer 30 and 1800ths, and the relative humidity now 60%. The temperature, let's see, we see 44 degrees, and we had 4/100ths of an inch of rain. And there is the radar. Here's a little area of rain northeast of Dallas, and you can see a few little spots around. Probably not raining where you are, and more than likely will not during the night. Okay, we'll look for it to clear by morning. The temperatures will range downward to 32 degrees under clear skies, warm up to 57, 38 to 64 on Wednesday. Fair skies, cool nights, warm days. The wind's coming around into the southwest, getting a little gusty by Wednesday, but another little change Thursday night.
Okay, thank you, Harold. Well, their calling in life is telling others what to do, how to do it, and when to do it.
They are consultants, and for them, our area is a land of plenty. Stay tuned.
Ask me about flowers, and Antos has the answer. Ask me what to do with money. Better you should talk to Sharon down at Savings of America. Sharon's smart, always figuring out ways to get me an extra little bit here and there. And that's important because I am not the Antos I used to be. I always bring Sharon a flower. She's a sucker for flowers.
It's people like Mr. Antos who make Savings of America $19 billion strong.
Mr. Antos is such a sweetie. Every time he comes to Savings of America, he brings me a flower. I guess it's his way of thanking me for the tips I give him on getting more from his savings. Actually, we're happy to do that for anyone, because these are confusing times, and we want our depositors to be smart about their money. Still, I love the flowers. I'm a sucker for flowers.
It's people like Sharon Stanley who make Savings of America $19 billion strong.
Want to make a fast buck, win friends in high places, get lots of respect, then become a management consultant to the city of Dallas. Channel 5's Bob Letter says some city council members actually think things are that loose at City Hall and are demanding a crackdown on the flow of easy money.
Any way you cut it, the city of Dallas spends a lot of money for outside consultants. In a report just released, the figure comes to $1.5 million a year, about $40,000 per report. Two of the most well-known reports include the monorail study, where, for nearly $300,000, city officials were advised railroads have been around for a long time and are well understood, and monorails are new and unproven. City Council member Max Goldblatt had a field day during a vote on the $260,000 Town Lake study, showing a stack of similar reports on Town Lake dating back 50 years. The study was approved anyway.
What really aggravates me the most about them is that in so many cases we don't seem to ever use them.
But I have no evidence from the report that I've seen here that we've got a problem. I think we have a problem in reporting it and in quantifying the benefits.
City Manager Charles Anderson has been given much of the credit for assembling a first-rate management team here at City Hall, comprised of leading experts in their particular fields. Now it appears that a growing number of council members would like to see Anderson make better use of the people around him than simply hire a management consultant every time a new problem crops up. Bob Letter, Channel 5 Action News, Dallas.
Coming up tonight at 10 o'clock on Channel 5 News, Democrats have begun the process of selecting their presidential nominee. And Channel 5's Karen Parfitt will have the very latest results from the Iowa caucus, where the second-place winner is almost as important as the #1 spot.
Also this evening, we'll begin an important series of reports on the fillings in your teeth. Some dentists believe they can be responsible for unexplained medical problems in some patients. It's an interesting and controversial subject, and Jane Boone will have the story tonight at 10 o'clock. Hope you'll join us.
Have a good evening.